It is 12:02 in the afternoon Eastern time, and yes, I know this was supposed to be a 3-hour show. If you watch Dave's Gone By every week, you know it's never a 3-hour show. We'll go till a little after 12:30 because we have still more to do. We got Charlie Gross coming up. We got Rabbi Saul with his rabbinical reflection. We got more trivia questions, more timeline. But before we get to that, how can we do this show without the guest who's been on so many of these? A great friend of mine, terrific person, and a man who is now on camera, bearded. A lot of people with beards this time, even which is kind of scary. But ladies and gentlemen, Simon Saltzman is in the neighborhood with us. He is the vice president of the Outer Critics Circle. He is also a writer for CurtainUp.com and TotalTheater.com. Looking good with a beard. Simon, how are you? How you feeling?
Thank you, very kind. You're very kind as usual. I feel great. This whole nightmarish scenario that we've been living through hasn't, affected me too adversely. I miss theater. It's a dramatic change going from the theater every night, almost every night, to no theater at all. So catching up on Turner Classic Movies. Thank you, God, for Turner Classic Movies.
Yeah.
And, what can I say?
Simon, if I can ask you one thing, if you can either turn your head, because you're looking, it looks like you're looking at something, but you're not actually. Oh, there we go. There you go.
All right. Okay. You know what?
Yeah.
I had a PC crash, so I've connected my laptop to my old monitor, and okay. So now I'm facing. I'm trying to figure out how to get to. It doesn't matter.
No, now we have a conversation though. Now I can see you. You can. I don't know if you can see. Can you see me?
I can see you at my left eye. Which is, no, that's fine.
You don't have to. We're just talking. So Simon is here to talk about so many of the other critics have. It's interesting. I gave people the choice of a couple of questions they could answer. And I thought so many people would pick their favorite shows of all time, blah, blah, blah. Some did, but almost everyone really wanted to talk about current theater. They wanted to talk about what shows opened in the past few months on and off Broadway. And you chose that as well. So Simon, what rocked your world this past season?
Well, in the past few months, I think I misinterpreted your question because I went back to 1972.
Well, that's the other question. I am because you chose to answer this season as well as full time. Yeah.
All right. This season, if I can be kind, I think in general was a disaster. I think it may be one of the worst seasons Broadway has ever had.
Not because of the pandemic, but what was so terrible?
No, I think the plays were just not good. The musicals were not very good. The revivals were a tad better. I liked off-Broadway a lot more than I liked Broadway.
Okay.
Which is kind of typical. But this is almost embarrassing to admit that I was looking over the list of over 200 plays that I saw last year. I don't remember seeing most of them. No,
wow.
It's not my senility. It's just that they just, they're there and then they disappeared. They don't, embed themselves into my mind as being, profound or tremendously entertaining or memorable in any way. It's very sad. Of course, it's sad to see. By the way, I was at the theater on March the 11th, I believe it was, to see Six, a musical that had come from London, was in its last press preview. And at the Brooks Atkinson, that was the last night theater was open. It was actually the Brooks Atkinson, if you remember, was the theater that the usher was found to have had the virus. They shut down the theater. And of course, they called, President Trump to ask him what fumigant to use to clean the theater. And I don't know, it was Listerine maybe, but they cleaned the whole theater down. And the theater was filled that night with a very enthusiastic audience. I didn't know it was going to be the last night of theater. And
mine was Girl from the North Country on that Tuesday. I went to see the Dylan musical, and then
I hope you loved it as much as I did. In fact, talking about disappointing season, that was the highlight for me. I thought it was deeply moving. I was moved to tears, as a matter of fact. That doesn't happen often. At the end of that show, I was so affected that my companion next to me looked over and she said, "Boy, this is really touching you deeply." And I said, "Yeah, I can't explain why, but I have to say, Bob Dylan's music never sounded so great. He was never a great, and a singer, but to begin with, but I never really appreciated his canon like I did in this show. And of course, Conor McPherson did a brilliant job of creating a plot and connecting. Talk about a jukebox musical. This was the best one, I think. One of the top of all time, because it made sense. All the performances. Anyway, so we can't dwell on just one show, but
so pick one.
Thank God for that. And my earplug is falling off.
Well, pick one more show real quick. Play or musical on or off Broadway that you really, if you can think of one, for this past season before we get to your all time.
Okay, let's say certainly. I think The Inheritance might have been the finest play that I saw all year. It had its flaws, and it was very long. I think it's a shame that they had nothing against epic plays that take an entire day to see, but I think it lost a huge audience by requiring them to come back twice. This is a big. What can I say? It's something that people can't devote an entire day of their life to doing, and critics do it. We've done it.
Well, but even I think with that play, which I did see, with that particular play, I think they could have cut it down to about maybe 4 hours and change with 2 intermissions.
I totally agree. It would have been absolutely brilliant cut down, because there was a lot of fat, that needed to be. Yeah. Let's see, the other plays there. By the way, we can talk about the outer critic circle over the Tonys or Dramas, because I think we did something absolutely marvelous and splendid. We had honorees this year instead of winners, and what's the word?
Well, there wasn't a competition. You just kind of.
We had no competition. We decided that we had the normal nominations were held, and we decided to give every nominee an honoree. So they all will be receiving certificates, and we were praised for it in the press. And I'm happy we went that route. Also, we gave cash awards to the John Gassner winners, all the winners of those. So we were happy to do that, and we made
I'll stop you just so people who aren't theater geeks. John Gassner is for the best new American play. That's a special award
by a new and upcoming American playwright.
Yeah.
So we were able to honor them, and also usually these are the playwrights that need a little help. So we gave
right now all playwrights need a little, but even the veteran ones.
Right, but the new ones need it more than the others. So we gave them a cash award, and also we gave an award. The Art and Critics Circle gave an award to the Actors Fund. So
very nice. Now, before we let Simon go, I do want to give you a chance to weigh in on, like, the greatest moment for you in all your many years of theater going, whether you were a critic or beforehand, what just blasted you off?
Well, I had to think about 10 seconds on that one. The show was Follies. It opened in the 1971, 1972 season, and that was a show that impressed me, but it baffled me. It baffled me because I knew I was seeing something brilliant and innovative. And it made me go back. At that time, I was paying for the theater. I went back a month later. I went back 3 months later after that. I became like a what do you call it? A trekkie, what do they call, a real fan.
Right.
And each time I realized more and more how brilliant Goldman's book was, Sondheim score, the Hal Prince, Michael Bennett collaboration this was a show that was about sad people making all the wrong choices, but people in the industry that I love, the theater industry, and how we follow our dreams, and sometimes those dreams are not the best dream to follow. It was a complicated musical, and like I say, each time I found more and more to see in it, and it affected me because it made me realize how great theater can really be, and how often we don't quite make the mark, and we haven't made the mark in recent years. Yes, there have been wonderful shows, but Follies is the one. And there's never been a revival to make up for the original. Well, of course, it was too expensive. It closed even after it ran a year. It closed at a loss because the cost of operating was too much. But those performers, that show that's the outstanding Broadway show of my lifetime, and I still remember it. So that's my answer to that.
Well, that's an outstanding answer from Simon Saltzman, our great friend of the neighborhood. I want to remind everybody that when theater starts up again, you can read him in curtainup.com and totaltheater.com. You can also, of course, read his previous review. All these folks who write for these websites, they have search engines. You can go find what they've written prior. So, I got a little choked up there. Thank you so much.
No drinking before 1 p.m., please.
Before 1 p.m.?
Oh,
I'm a 12 man. But anyway, Simon, stay healthy.
I hope we covered everything we were supposed to cover. I don't know. I blasted the theater a little too hard. I'm sorry about that. It just was not a memorable season. But hope springs eternal, and
hopefully it won't be the only season we'll ever have to remember again.
Absolutely. Looking forward to the next season.
From your mouth,
thank
as
you,
our
David.
last guest said, halabai. It should only be halabai. Simon, great to see you. Stay well.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.